welcome back. This is IGN Live at E3 2019, and if you played video games even a little bit, you're probably aware of Minecraft. But what about Minecraft Dungeons? This is David and Mons from Minecraft Dungeons, and my good friend James Duggan to talk about Minecraft Dungeons. Let's get into it. How are you guys doing?
Great. Like, it was such an awesome Xbox presentation, and just seeing our baby in that context. Oh, God.
Next to Keanu, right?
Yes.
That had to be fun.
This is a weird thing to say, but a lot of people didn't know what your baby looked like until today.
That is true.
And now they do. And they're happy to see it, which is a good reaction to a baby.
Very much so.
So I have to ask, Minecraft, the ARPG space, my heart goes out to it. I love it. Thousands of hours in the various iterations of ARPG. Minecraft is a game where procedural generation and I feel like interacting with the environment are the two strongest motifs. Are those making their way into Minecraft Dungeons?
Yes. Right. So Minecraft Dungeons will have procedurally generated levels that you progress through. They will be containing a bit of randomized mobs to defeat, randomized treasure to find, and some key areas in there that, well, sort of appear again so you can recognize them. And then you have a sort of chain of objectives that you want to accomplish. It's not like we have a massive narrative that you go through, but you do have like the next thing you want to reach and accomplish. And those tend to be similar, so you recognize them and know how to approach them.
Now, like, ultimately, in a story like this, it's sort of about getting your friends together. And so how did you decide the sort of push and pull of how many players work, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player? Like, do you guys have a sweet spot where it's your favorite, or do you just like to go all in with 4 players and see what happens?
Yeah.
So 4 players is definitely where we think this shines. It's where we think this is the most fun. And it's just something that we love doing, that we do in the office. That said, it does play well in single player or with 2 or 3 players as well.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, we have local co-op or couch co-op on it. And just the ability to sit and play, and someone can just grab a controller and hop in. Just that sort of dynamic 2-player, and the difficulty scales just at the automatically. So it's quite fun.
So we saw the character classes, or at least I assume they're character classes, certainly kind of the archetypal wizard, paladin, warrior, something like that. Do you have classes in Minecraft Dungeons, and what do they play like?
Right, so we do not have any character classes. So in keeping with Minecraft spirit, we focus on customizing your character with artifacts that you find, with weapons, with armor. So you build your own playstyle with the gear and the loot that you collect.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I mean, you can re-equip and reshuffle as you go. So if you end up in a situation where you can't defeat a mini-boss or a boss or solve a puzzle or whatever, you can just reconfigure, equip different artifacts, different armors and weapons and things to adapt to the situation. So, you are what you wear, to some extent.
Now, one of the things I've always loved about Minecraft is sort of the way it's scaled for players young and old, and also players who are not novices and experts. This is very clearly taking some, sort of cues from a game like Diablo. I talked to James right before we came out here, and I'm like, have you played Diablo? Which was a stupid question, because he was like, yes, thousands and thousands of hours of Diablo. So how do you make a man like him happy? Not in his whole personal life, but just as a Diablo fan who's played thousands of hours. What do you do with a guy like this?
Right, so we certainly aim for this game to be accessible, easy to get into for anyone, and you can start playing it without much knowledge of other games in the genre or anything like that. That said, we're certainly making sure that it has depth as well. We think the customization that you do with the items that you find, and at the higher difficulties in the game, they do add a lot of depth to gameplay.
So Minecraft, obviously about creating your own experience. There's been a lot of level editors of late. I have to imagine player-created dungeons is at least a thought in your mind. Is that something we're going to potentially see at launch?
Probably not at launch, no. But further down the line, we're interested in exploring that.
Very cool. And to piggyback off of that, I just wanted to ask, in this trailer I saw, when you think about the conventional ARPG kind of character sheet, and you have all these elements of armor, it's pretty simple. There's a melee weapon, a ranged weapon, armor, but then there are these 3 things down there, one of which I saw is like a little piece of meat, a haunch of meat that you huck, and it summons a wolf. So tell me about the item design and what you're excited about there.
Yeah, so I can start. I can mention the closest thing to an archetype or a class we have, that's the armor that you equip. that sort of defines the most of your character. It defines like movement speed. If you're heavy armor, makes you attack. If you have a light armor, you might be better at ranged weapons, etc. and so forth. And we have quite a lot of range of these. And then these synergize both with your melee weapon and with your ranged weapon and with your artifact. But we also have a system we call enchantments.
Right. So enchantments are inspired by how they work in the vanilla Minecraft game. And so every piece of armor, every bow, every melee weapon that you find, they come with a set of randomized enchantments. We see in the trailer an enchantment called Thundering that shoots out lightning. And so how you invest your points from leveling up into those enchantments on your gear is super important to your playstyle.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Minecraft Dungeons is out spring 2020.
That is correct.
Any last words?
I mean, we're so happy to be able to bring it to PC, Xbox, Xbox Game Pass, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation 4.
We're super excited.